大家好，我是观人观事观天下。有媒体报道，最近新加坡董玉振博士痛骂复旦，把中国人基因图谱发到了国外，把中国人出卖了还沾沾自喜。为了一篇论文，为了自己的升迁，把中国人的基因图谱拱手送给了英美。难道复旦的教授不知道这其中的危害吗？新加坡这位博士为何痛骂复旦大学的文化汉奸呢？因为新加坡人大部分也是华人，他们的基因图谱和我们是一样的。如果外国人利用中国人的基因图谱使坏，搞生化武器，那新加坡人也会跟着遭殃。所以新加坡的董玉振博士实在是看不下去了，就开骂了。新加坡董玉振博士尖锐地质疑中国的顶尖名校，为了一篇论文，竟然将中国人的基因图谱拱手送给英美，居然还沾沾自喜。是复旦的教育出了问题，还是大学的升迁制度出了问题？的确，这些所谓的学者赶到了7月1日中华人民共和国禁止提供中国人遗传资源相关的法规生效前急急忙忙的发表，这分明是向英美递送屠刀。新加坡的董玉振博士直言不讳地表达了自己深深的愤怒。假如公开中国人的基因图谱，可能会导致人们自己掏腰包割下自己的肾脏，然后还感到自己很自豪。总之，基因信息涉及到国家和民族的安全和生存，将中国人的基因信息公布于众，就等于是向敌人暴露中国的防线，为他们研发生物武器提供了有利的条件。基因武器极为可怕，因为理论上可以通过针对某个特定的种族或群体的遗传信息进行设计，使得这个群体更容易受到伤害。如果这种武器被研制成功，将会在人群中引起大规模的基因变异，对整个生态系统产生深远的影响。这种影响不仅比核辐射造成的更为严重，而且会带来长期的甚至永久的遗传影响。这些人宁愿违反国家的政策，也要将中国人基因图谱在外国发表，难道仅仅就是为了出名？仅仅就是为了学术成绩？仅仅就是为了个人学校那点利益？这些人干出这种可耻的勾当，是有意还是无意错把出卖当成绩，不以为耻，反以为荣。在他们的报道中还说什么以给予36个族群的中国人泛基因组参考图谱为题，发表于《自然》杂志，并宣称这是我国学者领导的人群基因组研究首次登上《自然》还感到很自豪。国家为什么要立法？那就是国家为了保护中国人，在国家的立法之前做这种无耻之事，这同在战争中当汉奸有什么区别这些人把中国人的基因图谱公布在外国的期刊杂志上，还得意洋洋地宣称这项研究构成了中国人群的基因组参考族谱，揭示了中国人的基因组中隐藏着此前从未揭示过的基因序列。难道这些人真的不知道这其中的利害关系吗？应该不是，绝对不是。但凡有小学文化程度的人都明白，难道这些专家们不明白吗？此事刚刚发生时，就有不少的中国的专家学者或者媒体对他们的这一做法提出过严厉的批评和质疑，但是并没有引起国家的相关部门的重视。新加坡的董玉振博士这次明确地向中国高层提醒，中国学者把中国人基因图谱拿到国际上公开发表的事儿，需要高层重视起来。最近有消息报道，2023年5月3日，在欧洲举行的第3次国际新冠峰会上，美国戴维·马丁博士曝光，美国制造了非典和新冠病毒，是针对中国的生物武器。
接下来他的发言，每一个有良知的中国人都应该一字一句好好看完，并广而告之。
But then we had an interesting development in 2002, and this date is most important. Because in 2002, the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill patented, and I quote, an infectious replication defective clone of coronavirus. Let me unpack it for you. Infectious replication defective means a weapon. And that patent was filed in 2002, mysteriously preceded SARS 1.0 by a year. Dave, are you suggesting that SARS 1.0 wasn't from a wet market in Wuhan? Are you suggesting it might have come from a laboratory in the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill? No, I'm not suggesting it. I'm telling you that's the facts. We engineered SARS. SARS is not a naturally occurring phenomenon to actually attack human beings, and they patented it in 2002. But let's get something very clear. When the CDC in April of 2003 filed the patent on SARS coronavirus isolated from humans, what did they do? They downloaded a sequence from China and filed a patent on it in the United States. Any of you familiar with biological and chemical weapons treaties knows that's a violation. That's a crime. That's not an innocent oops. That's a crime. And the United States Patent Office went as far as to reject that patent application on 2 occasions until the CDC decided to bribe the Patent Office to override the patent examiner to ultimately issue the patent in 2007 on SARS coronavirus. In 2005, this particular pathogen was specifically labeled as a bioterrorism and bioweapon platform technology. Described as such. That's not my terminology that I'm applying to. It was actually a biowarfare enabling agent. Its official classification from 2005 forward. I don't know if that sounds like public health to you. And that feels like a weapon designed to take out humanity. That's what it feels like. And it feels like that because that's exactly what it is. Did you hear what I just said? A biological weapons lab facility at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, received an exemption from the gain-of-function moratorium so that by 2016 we could publish the journal article that said SARS coronavirus is poised for human emergence in 2016. And what, you might ask, Dave, was the coronavirus poised for human emergence? It was WIV1. Wuhan Institute of Virology Virus 1. Poised for human emergence in 2016 at the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Does that sound like leak? Does that sound like a bat and a pangolin went into a bar in the Wuhan market and hung out and had sex, and lo and behold, we got SARS-CoV-2? No. Accidental or intentional release of a respiratory pathogen was the terminology used, and 4 times in April of 2019, 7 months before the allegation of patient number 1, 4 patent applications of Moderna were modified to include the term accidental or intentional release of a respiratory pathogen as the justification for making a vaccine for a thing that did not exist. Let's read this because we have to read this into the record everywhere I go. Until an infectious disease crisis is very real, present, and at the emergency threshold that is often largely ignored. To sustain the funding base beyond the crisis, he said, we need to increase the public understanding for the need for medical countermeasures such as a pan-influenza or pan-coronavirus vaccine. A key driver is the media, and the economics will follow the hype. We need to use that hype to our advantage to get to the real issues. Investors will respond if they see profit at the end of the process. Sounds like public health? Sounds like the best of humanity? No, ladies and gentlemen, this was premeditated domestic terrorism stated at the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences in 2015, published in front of them. This is an act of biological and chemical warfare perpetrated on the human race, and it was admitted to in writing that this was a financial heist and a financial fraud. Investors will follow if they see profit at the end of the process. Nature was hijacked. This whole story started in 1965 when we decided to hijack a natural model and decide to start manipulating it. Science was hijacked, so morality was suspended for medical countermeasures. And ultimately, humanity was lost because we decided to allow it to happen.
这次会议是一个顶级国际峰会，欧洲30多个国家的议员、相关专家、媒体记者都在现场听到了马丁博士的演讲。
目前呢，网上的这个视频传得很广啊，大家可以看一看。当然，对美国戴维马丁博士的曝光的内容啊，我们也不能全信。 但是我们也不能不信，不能不重视啊！对发生在中国学者当中的出卖中国基因图谱的汉奸行为，国家还能不管吗？还能不查处吗？还能不管不问吗？还能这样的装聋作哑吗？如果对于这种文化汉奸都不查处了，如何平民愤呢？好，我今天就点评到这里，谢谢大家。